Jynx discovers a new companion. Jynx was a tiny, midnight-colored bundle of fur, round, soft, with eyes that glimmered like polished green marbles. She was the most energetic and playful kitten you'd ever find in the entire neighborhood. Boing, boing, went Jynx as she leaped. In pursuit of a fluttering butterfly, Jynx dashed with enthusiasm. She darted after a dancing leaf, ever so lively. Whenever someone gave her chin a gentle tickle, Jynx would respond with a playful leap. Loved by all, Jynx was a favorite. Even the small bird Pip would serenade her with his most melodious tunes. "Oh, lovely Lady Jynx, my dear," he would chirp joyfully from atop the grand oak tree. Jynx. Whenever Jynx tried to mimic the music, it often turned into a joyful, rumbling meow. Next door, Barnaby, the lively beagle pup, had a special fondness for Jynx. His tail wagged so energetically that his entire body would sway with excitement at the mere sight of her. "Woof, woof. Let's play, Jynx," he'd exclaim, his floppy ears flapping wildly. Jynx would leap onto their tails wagged with joy as they tumbled and rolled through the lush, green grass, like two giggling peas in a pod. Even Mrs. Higgins's grumpy old tortoise, Sheldon, who typically preferred solitude with his beloved dandelions, would extend his neck a little further from his shell whenever Jynx paid a visit. Jynx would softly, gently tapping his shell with her tender paw. Jynx would watch as Sheldon gave a gradual, drowsy blink. She understood it as tortoise language for, "Greetings, little fluffy friend." Jynx had a knack for making friends. She believed that all anyone needed was some playtime and a bundle of joyful purrs. One bright morning, something unexpected and something thrilling had happened. Jynx's beloved human, Lily, returned home carrying a mysterious crate. Meow, Jynx wondered, tilting her head as her whiskers quivered with intrigue. What could be inside? A brand new bouncy ball, perhaps? Or maybe a spectacular feather wand? With anticipation, Lily knelt down and carefully opened the carrier. Out came another kitten, one that seemed to glow with the warm hues of marmalade and sunshine, its large amber eyes gleaming with curiosity. Unlike Jynx, who was always bursting with energy, this little Ginger was calm, incredibly still, and oh so quiet. "Jynx," Lily murmured softly, "meet Ginger. She's a bit shy, so be gentle. A good girl, and make her feel welcome." Jynx's heart fluttered with joy. A new friend, right here at home. How wonderful. Meow. "Hello," Jynx chirped, bounding over to Ginger. She performed her signature welcome wiggle, shaking her bottom before doing a playful hop. It never failed to make Barnaby burst into barks of delight. Laughter filled the air, but Ginger remained still. She didn't even twitch, just blinked lazily and wrapped her tail more snugly around her paws. Her ears drooped slightly, and her eyes seemed like they might overflow at any moment. Jynx pondered, she must be yearning for some fun. That's why she's feeling blue. She hasn't had a chance to play. Jynx switched into full, make-a-friend mode without hesitation. Her first move? Offering Ginger her beloved sparkly ball. With a playful swipe of her paw, Jynx sent the ball zipping across the floor. "How about a chase?" she suggested with an excited meow, her eyes gleaming with hope. But Ginger simply observed as the ball disappeared under the sofa, remaining still. Time for Plan B. Jynx recalled Pip's fondness for her playful dances. Rising onto her hind legs, she waved her front paws wildly, giving a little twirl. "Look at me, Ginger. I'm the dancing queen," she purred with delight. Ginger watched Jynx, then glanced at her own paws, letting out a soft, wistful sigh. This was more challenging than Jynx had anticipated. Normally, everyone Jynx was eager for some fun with Ginger. She gave it her all, leaping into the air and striking a silly pose, but Ginger didn't even crack a smile. Then, Jynx switched tactics. She played peekaboo from behind the curtains. Yet, Ginger wasn't interested. In a final attempt, Jynx offered her the tastiest, crunchiest cat treats she had. Ginger merely sniffed at them and turned away. Jinx's lively energy began to wane, much like a deflated ball. With a heavy sigh, she plopped down, her fluffy black tail sagging. Why doesn't Ginger like me? She wondered aloud. Why won't she join in the fun? And most puzzling of all, why does she always seem so sad? Meanwhile, Lily had been observing intently. Softly, she approached and gathered Jynx into her embrace. As she caressed Jinx's velvety fur, she murmured, "Oh, Jynx, you're putting in so much effort to be a good friend, and that's amazing." But every now and then, when someone is new and feeling a bit anxious or down, they might not be in the mood for lively games. Jynx gazed up at Lily, her green eyes brimming with bewilderment.
Meow.
"But why?" she inquired. Lily chuckled softly. "Well," she explained, "there are times when the greatest gift you can offer a new friend isn't constant chatter or endless play. It's simply the act of listening." Perhaps Ginger has something important to share. She has something to share, but she requires someone to be utterly silent and motionless so she can feel secure enough to speak. Listening. Jynx pondered this. She excelled at creating joyful sounds and was superb at playing. But simply listening? That felt a bit like being a statue. How does she do that? Lily whispered to Jynx, her voice filled with awe. It's like having a superpower. Being an exceptional listener can make someone feel truly understood and safe. Why not give it a shot? With a gentle nudge, Jynx leaped off Lily's lap and turned her gaze to Ginger. She was curled up like a tiny orange ball by the window, her eyes tracing the path of a raindrop as it meandered down the glass. Jynx made up her mind to test this newfound listening superpower. She approached Ginger with careful steps, deliberately slow, almost silent. No energetic bouncing, no restless movements, no cheerful meows. She settled herself down a short distance from Ginger, not too near, and simply sat there quietly. Her eyes shifted from Ginger to the window as both of them gazed at the falling raindrops. It wasn't easy. Jynx felt the urge to share with Ginger the joy of splashing in puddles later on. She longed to teach Ginger how to playfully tap at the raindrops on the glass. Yet Lily's advice echoed in her mind. Just listen. So, Jynx. She remained silent, her purr reduced to a faint, delicate hum, barely audible. For what seemed like an eternity to the lively Jynx, Ginger finally turned her head. She gazed at Jynx, who responded with a gentle blink, her green eyes filled with kindness. Suddenly, a small, squeaky sound emerged from Ginger, so soft and gentle that Jynx nearly didn't catch it.
Meow.
Jynx's ears twitched slightly, but she remained motionless, just listening. Ginger took a small breath. I miss my old garden," she murmured, her voice trembling. It had a big sunny spot and butterflies. A lone tear slipped down her furry cheek. Jynx stayed put. She didn't leap up or rush to tell Ginger about her garden or her butterflies. Instead, she just listened quietly, making her gentle hum a bit more pronounced, offering comfort. "And my brother," Ginger sniffled. "We used to play chase all day." Jynx felt a gentle tug at her heart. Ginger was longing for her home and her brother, not because she didn't enjoy Jynx's games, but simply because she missed the familiar comforts of her past. Jynx listened in silence, allowing Ginger to share her feelings. Ginger described her snug, old bed and the warmth of sunbeams streaming into her favorite spot, a cozy nook for rest. Jynx absorbed every word, without a single interruption. She simply allowed Ginger's sorrow to spill forth. Gradually, as Ginger continued speaking, her tense little frame began to unwind. Her ears lifted slightly, and her tail gave a small, tentative flick. Eventually, when she was done, she gazed at Jynx with her large, amber eyes. They weren't as teary now. "Thank you for listening," Ginger whispered softly. Jynx responded with a tender, quiet meow. Then, ever so slowly, she extended her paw and gently tapped Ginger's. To Jynx's astonishment, she didn't pull back. Instead, She tilted her head ever so slightly towards Jynx, and then, for the first time, Ginger smiled. It was a mere hint of a smile, just the faintest curve of her lips, but it was unmistakably there. Jynx's heart leaped with joy, yet she managed to keep her composure. Later that day, Jynx introduced Ginger in the brightest corner of their new living room. Jynx softly rolled her glittering ball toward Ginger. Surprisingly, Ginger didn't overlook it. She glanced at Jynx, then at the ball, and finally gave it a playful nudge. Both of them dashed after it, filled with excitement. In that moment, Jynx understood what Lily had said. Sometimes, the best way to be a friend is... It wasn't about being the most vocal or energetic. At times, the greatest act was to remain silent and still, just to listen. Listening, truly listening, was indeed a superpower. Jynx, the most sociable and lively cat around, had just discovered how to wield this power to connect with her newest, shyest friend. Feelings of happiness and safety enveloped them, creating the most wonderful play experience imaginable.
The end.
Now, amazing listeners, give yourselves a big wiggle and a silent cheer. You've just discovered that being calm and attentive is an incredible way to help new friends feel. Feeling joyful? Remember this. When you see someone who seems down, think of Jynx. Use your incredible listening skills. Now go on and enjoy an amazingly fun day. Farewell.